This week on ICN, the stories you should have heard, but didn't. Baxter International shipped live avian flu virus to 18 countries and will now be allowed to develop a swine flu vaccine. AIG continues its comedy of errors. Tarp watchdog opens 20 criminal investigations. Those stories and more next on Informed Citizen News. Hello and welcome to ICN, Informed Citizen News, May 3rd, 2009. Our first story is from the "You Gotta Be Kidding Me" category. In February, Baxter International, a biotech company, was discovered to have shipped vaccines containing the live killer avian flu virus to 18 countries. A story that was covered by ICN in our March 8th broadcast, but was totally ignored by the national media. The story has taken on even more relevance since the swine flu broke out in Mexico a few weeks ago. Unbelievably, Baxter International is now working with the World Health Organization to get their hands on a sample of the swine flu in an attempt to develop a vaccine. Can anyone justify a company who mistakenly ships out avian flu virus to 18 countries getting anywhere near a potential pandemic version of the flu virus? There are a lot of theories floating around about the origin of the Mexican swine flu, but no hard facts yet in how it started. So what we do know is that this flu virus has similar traits as the 1918 Spanish flu that killed around 50 million people worldwide. A frightening aspect of this current flu virus and the 1918 version is that both began with mild outbreaks in the spring. In 1918, the version went silent during the summer, only to make a deadly reappearance months later in the fall flu season, when millions started to die from the virus. The latest from the World Health Organization is that the Mexican swine flu will be elevated in the next few days to their highest alert level. All eyes should be on the southern hemisphere as they are just entering their winter flu season. And Americans will have to be on alert well into 2010 as all flu viruses constantly mutate, which may include becoming more deadly. As we have seen in Mexico, the government health officials close all public places and gatherings in an attempt to slow the spread. If the Mexican swine flu takes a turn for the worse and affects your local community, there are some precautions that you can take in advance. A common sense approach that all people should take is to be able to remain in your home for at least 30 days. Have enough food, water, and other supplies for you and your family to make it through an extended period of isolation. This will serve you well, not only for the Mexican swine flu, but any other situation that may force you to remain in your home for an extended period of time. Whether it's earthquakes, floods, storms, or man-made catastrophes, you can choose to be a victim or a survivor just by how prepared you are. As for Baxter International, would you be lining up to take their newly developed flu vaccine when it comes out? One has to doubt their competence after they shipped out deadly avian flu virus to 18 countries. The origin of the Mexican swine flu is not yet known. It's a combination of human, avian, and two types of swine flus. Because of this cocktail, a vaccine may be difficult to create. The University of Minnesota Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy reported back in 2004 that the CDC was launching experiments to combine avian and human flu just to see if it was possible. The report claimed that the purpose of the CDC experiment was to see how deadly a combination avian and human flu virus could be. Pigs are often used in medical experiments and procedures because they have many similar characteristics with humans. The pig farm near Patient Zero in Mexico tested negative for this swine flu. It would not surprise us if this new flu virus was the result of human experimentation. As an employee, you try to make yourself indispensable to your company. You would like to think that they couldn't survive without you. James Shepard actually accomplished the ultimate in job security. If he left AIG, they would default on $234 billion in derivatives. The problem for AIG was they found out about the default clause after Shepard resigned due to the hostile working environment. AIG had to scramble to bring him back as CEO of their French division, or risk default of the $234 billion. We wonder what Mr. Shepard's signing bonus was for his return. This is why we shouldn't be bailing out companies with taxpayer money. AIG continues to be a comedy of errors. Neil Barofsky, Special Inspector General for Tarp, informed Congress that he has opened 20 criminal investigations. In his 250-page report to Congress, he said the $700 billion Tarp program has a great inherent danger for fraud, and that losses could end up exceeding $300 billion. Citing that most government programs lose approximately 10% to scams. Borofsky said that the federal giveaways in vast sums of money are tailor-made for fraud. He went on to say, the idea of price collusion, conflicts of interest, and the private fund managers engaging in practices to drive up prices for these assets for their own benefit at the taxpayer's expense are very, very real concerns. It's good to know that there is someone who is concerned about the taxpayer. We'll see if he actually gives it more than lip service and puts someone in jail. Under Section 202A of the Clean Air Act, the EPA proposed new regulations to control carbon dioxide emissions. While it does not mention what aspects of carbon dioxide emissions the EPA wishes to regulate, power plants and automobiles would be likely targets. By the way, about 8% of man-made worldwide carbon dioxide emissions are due to simple human breathing. The EPA says they do not want to regulate this activity, at least for now. The Missouri House of Representatives passed a bill that would bar illegal aliens from attending college in the state. The vote was not close, 125 to 30, and is now cleared for the Missouri Senate. As the unending debate on immigration policy continues, U.S. law states that crossing the American border without permission is a crime, punishable by fine and/or up to 6 months in jail. The College Board, an association of 5,000 schools, released a report that calls for federal legislation that would grant in-state college tuition, financial aid, and legal status to many illegal immigrants in the U.S. U.S. politicians are paralyzed on immigration, afraid of upsetting business access to cheap labor and the growing Hispanic population by stopping illegal immigration, while at the same time they are fearful of the growing resentment by American voters against open borders. The American voter still seems content to let their politicians play both sides and take no action. And finally, the first 3 months of this year saw the GDP shrink at an annual rate of 6%. This is about the time Obama's budget had the economy turning around and recovering. The U.S., as the world's largest economy, is like an ocean liner. Right now, it is going in the wrong direction, and Washington tells us it will do a quick turnaround. Even if things go well, it will take a few years to turn this ship around. What no one is talking about is the Social Security and healthcare icebergs still in our path in the years to come. Thank you for joining us here at ICN. Americans need to be informed, so please send our link to your friends and family. From all of us at Informed Citizen News, see you next week.